Hello, Cherie Hansen here. I want to share with you that I am taking new clients for my coaching and sharing of wisdom with clients that I'm working with now are doing extremely well and are a great pleasure to me in my life. You want to change something? Sometimes you need somebody to hold space for you, to offer wisdom, and to help guide you along the path. Get a hold of me. I charge $45 for an hour, and I can be that steadying influence for you. This one is something I wrote on my blog for April 21st called Looking at the Self. First, I have to say, because I am forthright, if nothing else, that when we no longer hide, we are now in a position to heal. A door opens. We no longer try so hard to not feel, to not hurt, to not show our human weaknesses. We speak or take action or redirect our thoughts from a deep place of knowing who we are or who we are attempting to become. Trusting others is the way we build our confidence in ourselves. When others are allowed to see us as who we are and meet us in that open space, we see that we have a shared vulnerability and humanity. The struggles are not particularly unique, or are they signs of failure? Every soul born in a body has to face the same challenges. It helps us to move from an adolescent place of posturing and the fearful wearing of a mask into a greater connection with our very own personal power. The feeling that we will die if others don't accept us is normal and a shared human experience. I believe it comes from our ancestral memory. Being shunned back then meant no one would allow you in. Being alone in the forest without food, shelter, or clothing meant you were condemned. There were predators in that unprotected place. The teen years are when these feelings are most intense. We need our tribe, we need our group, we have to be accepted. We scan other people to see how we should try to look. Throughout my life, the people I trusted the least were people who were wearing a mask. It is probably why I failed to trust myself for so many years. If it works on others, it works on you. So how does an individual become real? Somewhere in the mess of habits and emotions that we call the self is the sweet spot. It isn't about re-victimizing ourselves, although we have been trained to do that quite brilliantly. It isn't about self-loathing that leads us to punish ourselves because we are not good enough. It isn't about killing off the core soul self to prevent others from rejecting us. Oh my God, what if they could see me? That is why I grew to be 178 pounds when I was alone in a tiny apartment one summer while I was in university. Because I feared and was at war with my body, I put on weight. Because I put on weight, I only felt in control when I was eating. I had no distraction from the searing imprint of abandonment in my childhood, other than punishing myself. By unconsciously deforming my physical presentation, I was showing that I was in control. You can't hurt me. I hurt me first. And finally, it isn't by resigning to pain, to dysfunction, to the operating systems of past habits that a person can end the struggle between the static and the dynamic self. That is why my gold medal stuck place, that is where I wear my badge. I will tell myself I did well enough. This new resting place of reset is as good as it can get. Just settle in. I am not on the podium, but at least I didn't trip on my own feet and fall on my face. I got a participation badge. Finally, we are merely mortal, and we can only take one thing and focus on that successfully. It is up to each of us to figure out what that keystone habit is that will change our entire construction of reality. For me, I was driven into a corner to face myself by debilitating rheumatoid arthritis. I was deforming, unable to sleep, in constant pain. My war with my body could no longer be ignored. It took all my attention. When the specialists told me I would be in a wheelchair, I cried the entire hour-long car ride back to my house. And then I got pissed off. I got angry at myself for not paying attention. I got angry at the medical system for not understanding more about mental pain and how it manifests in physical pain. And I sat and began to research for 8 hours without taking a break. Every medical journal, worldwide study, and methodology I could find. 3 separate doctors told me I could never live without pain. My attitude was, fuck you. I did research. I ordered DHEA online. I followed the Norwegian study procedure and fasted for 12 days with only water coming in. I went to a hormone doctor and got my hormones balanced. I became serious about meditation practice and watching my mind. I began to honor the entirety of this thing called self. I paid attention to my masked rage, my limitations, my childishness, my fits, my yearnings, my gifts. I went on a path of soul retrieval whereby I accepted all of my complexities. I was only human after all. And now my major focus as a 75-year-old woman is to push through a societal barrier. We live in a society that has a good until date on our bodies. My yearly testing indicates that I read as 20 years younger than I did 7 years ago. My body is dynamic. It shifted as a relationship with myself shifted. Traditionally, the system gives up on us. Oh, you're 50 or 60 or 70. Of course you are hurting, growing increasingly weaker. And the best you can hope for is to slow down your own inevitable and disintegration. It is simply not true. My reaction was, fuck you. I started reading about DNA, about telomeres, about stem cell experiments. I began to look at TED Talks and YouTube videos of senior bodybuilders. I used to believe that tuberculosis could not be cured. People just have tuberculosis. It's in the family, you're going to die. That polio would surely deform you or put you in an iron lung. That longevity was 50, and then it became 60, and then 70. I know now I am a dynamic set of habits and thoughts. Society is a construct of ideas that I live within, like a building or a Quonset hut. Science no longer is a trick, leather-bound Bible of facts. Finally, who we are is a field of energy, a collection of beliefs, a structure of habits. The place of magic is to be open and curious. Who am I? Ask the question. Who am I now? And to get to this place of possibility, we first must not be encased in a sarcophagus of identity, in a tomb of who we think we are. In addition, people around us create who we are. 35 years of longitudinal studies prove that if others in our social amoeba are eating poorly, we will eat poorly. If they aren't proactive and are in a survivor mode mindset, so will we be in a state of constant struggle. We fall for old habits when the new habits are not yet hardwired. We fit in the social reflections around us as if it's a fun house of mirrors, but it ain't that fun. Take, for instance, the habitual problem of losing my keys. I spent 30 years not knowing where I last put my keys. Then one day I stood in the doorway, furious with myself. It was only then I set an intention. I got a key rack and taught myself to put my keys away. And now I know where my keys are. This person that we stand within is not the best we can be. It is a leftover of past thoughts and habits. It is a leftover of the mother's story and the grandmother's story going back for 7 generations. So somewhere between resignation, victimhood, and inward directed anger is the ability to calmly and carefully rebuild ourselves. We are the genius construction engineers of our own abilities and life. But in order to do that, we have to research the most effective manner to go about it. We don't decide to rebuild our bathroom without watching YouTube videos or hiring a plumber. It is not crowbar work. Self needs finessing. You have to learn how to work with your ego. When we give ourselves as we are too much credit, or ourselves as we are becoming too little credit, we deny ourselves the opportunity to live a more peaceful, a healthier, and a more satisfying life. And it all starts with desire. Sign up for the change. Find articles and study them. Figure out who you want to be and do everything you can to lovingly guide yourself there. The self is a dynamic construct. Be in a place where you set an intention, learn how to do it, and congratulate yourself for every single victory. Thank you.